Last week, I was on a work trip with a guy from my office. He's 22, a real Gen Z kid.
And?
The car's GPS died on a small road, so I passed him a paper map from the door pocket and said, "Find us."
And he looked at you like you gave him a rock.
He turned it around 3 times. Then he said, very serious, "How does this know where we are?"
Oh, no.
I said, "It doesn't. You know where you are." He just stared at the map.
See, this is where an older person says kids today can't do anything.
That's exactly what I thought in the car.
But it's the wrong lesson. He's not stupid. He's never once needed a paper map. Why would he learn something he never uses?
Okay, that's fair. But be honest, it was still a little funny.
It was very funny. Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm Stasy.
And I'm Mike. Glad to be here with you again.
Today, why are the generations so different? And who's right about young people?
And here's my honest start. I don't think Gen Z is lazy, but I do think something real changed.
And I think every older generation says the same thing, and every time they're wrong.
Same thing how?
There's a famous saying about 2,000 years old. An old writer says the young people have bad manners and no respect for their elders.
2,000 years ago?
The words never change. Boomers said it about us, their parents said it about them, only the names change.
All right, the complaint is old, but an old complaint doesn't mean nothing really changed.
So what changed?
Speed. When I was a kid and I wanted a song, I waited by the radio for an hour to record it on a tape.
I did the same thing.
My niece wants a song, she says it out loud, and it's playing. She almost never has to wait for anything.
And you think waiting was good for you?
I think waiting teaches you to sit still when you can't have something yet. When life is instant, that's harder to learn.
But look at what they got instead. My nephew can find almost any answer in 10 seconds.
That's true. We spent more time memorizing. They spend more time looking things up.
And which one helps you more? When your car breaks down, do you want a guy who memorized a book in 1990 or a guy who finds the exact answer for your exact car?
The second guy. Fine. So it's not worse. It's different.
Different, not worse. That's my whole point.
But I still say the fast, easy part costs something. Hold that thought.
I'll hold it. Where do you notice it most?
Work. My dad was a boomer, same company, 31 years. He didn't enjoy most of it.
And he never thought about leaving.
Never once. Now, my cousin, he's a Gen Z, left a good job in 8 months because, and I quote, "it didn't feel right."
And that sounds soft to you?
A little, yes. My dad would never say it didn't feel right. He'd say it pays the rent.
But your dad came home tired and unhappy for 31 years. Is that the dream?
No, but he had a house, 2 kids, and a boat.
And your cousin watched him do that and said, I don't want to be tired and angry for 30 years. That's not lazy. That's a person who saw the price and decided it was too high.
When you say it like that, it doesn't sound lazy, but somebody still has to do the hard, boring jobs.
True. So the real question isn't, are they lazy? It's, can you build a stable life if you leave every time you're unhappy?
Right. My dad's patience gave him a steady life. We don't know yet what my cousin's choices will give him.
We'll know later. He's 26. But let me push on your word, patience.
Go ahead.
My grandmother had endless patience. She also stayed with a husband who treated her badly for 40 years.
That's a hard example.
Because patience isn't always good. Sometimes I won't accept this, meaning I won't stay in something that hurts me, is the healthy answer.
So young people leave a bad job the way your grandmother should have left a bad marriage.
Sometimes, not always.
And that's where they lose me. My coworker's son quit a job because it started at 8 in the morning, and he's not a morning person.
That one I can't defend.
Thank you.
There's a line between this job is hurting me and this job asked me to wake up. Some young people can't see that line yet.
Here's another real one. Phones. Gen Z is the first generation that had a screen from the very beginning.
And that part worries me too, honestly.
You? You always defend them.
I defend them from the word lazy. I don't defend the phones. A kid needs to be bored sometimes. Boredom is where you learn to make your own fun.
So on phones, we finally agree.
We mostly agree. But be careful. People said novels would ruin the young, then radio, then television. Every time, older people were sure it was the end.
And every time, the kids turned out fine.
Mostly fine. Phones might have a bigger effect than television, though. I'm not sure yet, and anybody who's sure is guessing.
Then let me ask the money question, because I think this one is huge.
Go ahead.
A boomer could buy a house on one normal salary. My parents did it at 26.
And most millennials and Gen Z can't in most cities. Starting adult life is much more expensive now.
So when a boomer says, I bought a house at 26, why can't you? What's the honest answer?
Look at the numbers. Houses cost several times more now. Rent eats half your pay. University put a lot of people in years of debt. And pay hasn't kept up.
Say that again. Pay hasn't kept up.
A first job today pays a little more than it did 30 years ago, but everything around it costs 2 or 3 times as much.
So a young person can work hard, do everything right, and still not afford what their parents had?
Yes. And then somebody calls them lazy. It's easy to say that when you lived in a cheaper time.
You're right about that. My parents didn't have student debt. They had a cheap house and one job each.
But it goes both ways, remember. Young people think boomers had it easy in every way.
And they didn't. My mom had one phone for the whole house and waited 2 weeks for a letter from her sister.
Right. Every generation is a little blind to the other one's hard parts.
Let me add one you haven't mentioned. How we talk about problems.
What do you mean?
My grandfather lived through a war and never once said he was sad. Gen Z talks about their feelings all day and goes to therapy.
And the old people call that weak.
My grandfather would. He'd say, you have a problem, work harder and be quiet.
But staying quiet for 50 years isn't strength. My grandmother's silence made her lonely.
And a 20-year-old who says, I'm not okay out loud, maybe that's braver than the silence, not weaker.
I think it is, though I'll admit, sometimes it goes too far. Not every bad Tuesday is a crisis.
Now you sound like my grandfather.
A little, but he and I were both shaped by our time.
So what do we actually tell people?
If you're older, before you call young people lazy, remember they're starting adult life in a much more expensive world.
And if you're younger, before you say boomer, remember they went through things you never had to.
And here's where I stand. Gen Z and millennials aren't lazy. They just want a different life. And I think that's fair.
And here's where I stand. They're not lazy, you're right. But a fast, easy life really does make patience harder to learn. Both of those are true.
Before we go, we want to hear from you.
What's one thing your parents' generation did better than yours?
And one thing yours does better than theirs.
Do young people today have it easier or harder? Be honest.
And the last question, are you with me or with Mike?
Tell us in the comments.
We read them all. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Take care, everyone.
And that 22-year-old with the map, did he get you home?
He did. He read it in about 5 minutes. So much for the lazy generation.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.